Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Malene the therapist. So today I'm reacting to an incredibly emotional episode featuring Trisha from Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the latest episode, she opened up about her deep, painful trauma, losing both parents within months, holding her sister as she passed away, while her daughter witnessed it, and then even being abandoned by her husband during her darkest moments. This one, whew, it's heavy, but there's so much here that we can unpack. From a psychotherapist perspective, so much we can unpack about grief, about trauma, about single parenting, and even having emotionally hard conversations with our kids. So let's get into it. So, first, I want to acknowledge the layered nature of Trisha's trauma. She didn't just lose one loved one, she experienced multiple profound losses in a very short period of time. Parents, then her sister. That is what we call compounded grief, where trauma hits back to back, right? Not giving you a break to even have time to breathe. So when grief compounds like that, the brain, it goes into survival mode. It doesn't even get the chance to process what loss or even one loss before another one arrives. Okay, so people in Trisha's situation often feel numb, they often feel disoriented, they often feel like they're constantly bracing for the next blow. And then when her husband left, right in the middle of all of that, that becomes another trauma, abandonment trauma. So that's layered on top of everything else that she already had been carrying. So, one thing that broke me watching this episode was seeing how Trisha had to keep parenting her two children. Yes, I know they're older now, but even during her grief. Grief does not pause because you're a mom. Trauma does not stop because kids still need breakfast, they still need homework, they still need help, they still need emotional grounding. No, the trauma continues, but you still have to push through. When a partner walks away during a period like that, it can leave the survivor, someone like Trisha, feeling not just devastated, but also invisible. So, like, hey, does anyone see how hard this is? Does anyone care about what I'm holding together right now? She didn't have that. Yes, Ken might have came later on. But as therapists, we call this the parentification of grief. So, where the parent has to emotionally hold themselves up while still being an anchor for the kids. That's exhausting. And Trisha's pain was so palpable. I could feel it. Now, I want to talk about her conversation with her son. That was a moment. This part really stayed with me for sure. So, when she avoided eye contact, that was not disinterest, that was pain. Avoiding eye contact is a common trauma response when discussing something vulnerable or that you feel shamed about. And this conversation was not just about her grief, it was also about the chaos of the household during her relationship with Ken, and having their dad being involved at the same time and having to talk about or exhibit the emotions that she has been feeling because of his own abandonment. The fears and the confusion her son felt navigating tension between the adults in his life. As therapists, we know that kids notice everything. They absorb conflict even when we try to shield them. And they often internalize it as their fault, especially when they're younger. So when Trisha sat across from her son, she was confronting not just the pain of the past, but the fear that she may have unintentionally hurt him emotionally. That's a big, heavy weight for any parent to carry. What I want to highlight here is her courage. Having these conversations with our children, going to therapy, and processing her grief and trauma. But especially having those conversations with our kids, especially when there's guilt, when there's shame or regret. That is incredibly brave. This moment showed emotional vulnerability. It showed her willingness to repair. It showed her accountability. It showed her desire to do better moving forward. Repairing with our kids is one of the most healing things we can ever do as parents. It says, I am human. It says, I'm trying. And it says that you, my kid, my kids, matter. So here's what I want anyone watching to take away from this episode. Be gentle with yourself. Multiple losses create deep emotional fatigue. Survival mode can make parents appear distant, but it's not lack of love. It's the body's way of fighting to function. The third thing is kids remember emotional environments more than specific events. So talking openly, the way Trisha did, is how healing begins. Fourthly, it's never too late to repair with your children. Never too late to say, here's what was happening. Here's where I was hurting. And here's how I want us to move forward. This was one of the most heartbreaking but powerful episodes that I've ever seen in a long time. And Trisha, if you ever see this, your strength, your vulnerability, your willingness to confront the past for the sake of your healing and your children, that is admirable. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you the most from this episode and what other moments you want me to break down as a therapist. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more therapist reactions and mental health insights. I'll see you in the next one.